everyone. So it's been about 6 months since I last posted my collection videos. Well, it's been 6 months since I posted my photo card collection. It's been longer since I posted my album collection, but this video is going to be my album collection. So this is going to be filmed over the course of like a few days. So if lighting changes and stuff like that, that's why I don't have time to film this all at once. So it will be filmed over the course of a few days, like I said. So recently I've been making a lot of decisions about my collection, about how I want to collect, and have it all written down in my trusty journal. Yeah, the way I thought I'd do this video is that I'd show you kind of like all of the albums I have from one specific group or artist, and then I'd kind of talk about the way I have collected them and the way I'm going to continue to collect them, because I think it's good, at least for me, to have like kind of a reference, not just in my journal, but also kind of like have it kind of on record that I'm saying these things out loud. You know, because I need to kind of keep myself in control. I haven't really been making any hard decisions, any like drastic decisions, but I have been kind of making decisions that could be, I guess, could be considered big about the way I want to start collecting. So yeah, I'll just get started. So the first group I have is Brave Girls. They're like my alt female group, one of the two, and the way I collected them before was collecting all of their albums, all of their promos, everything I could basically, because I have everything they've released. So this is their debut, and then this is Back to the Future and Reissue, and then this right here is the For You single that Hyun and Yujin did, and then I have Deepened in Yoo-Hoo promos, High Heels, and then 2 copies of Rollin'. But yeah, so that's everything they've put out so far. I told myself that I could just continue to collect them the same way because I don't feel like their discography is ever gonna get super huge, and considering I already have everything that they've put out, I'm okay with continuing like that. And I will continue to collect signed albums where I can, because I have 3 as of right now. I'll collect probably more of their future albums if they have them. But yeah, so that's Brave Girls. So for NCT, I plan on collecting all their albums and all the versions, with some exceptions. Like, as you can see, like with Limitless, I only have 1 version, and I don't plan on getting any more. I don't know if I'm going to start collecting NCT Dream, because I do like them, but I don't like their music to the same extent that I like, I guess, 127's music. If I do collect NCT, I'll try like to get the albums cheap, but otherwise I'm not going to like go out of my way to do it, because I have written down like where reasonable, like if I buy multiple versions, it'll be a reasonable choice, and if I collect Dream, it'll be a reasonable choice. And any future units will be based on whether I think it's reasonable or not. Basically, if like I just like the music, I guess I have to like it enough to want to buy it. So here's Pristin and Gugudan. I decided I would talk about them jointly just because I don't have very many albums from either of them. But for Pristin, even though I'm kind of behind, I do plan on collecting all of their albums and all of their versions. I really like their music, and I really like them as a group, so yeah, I want to collect them. As for Pristin V, I'll only collect Rain's album cover if I can get it. Otherwise, I'll just kind of get a random album cover if I can. That's honestly no big deal. But for Pristin, I do really like their music a lot, and so I'd like to continue to collect their albums. And as for Gugudan, I don't like them as much as I used to. I still like them, like, don't get me wrong, but I haven't liked some of their last title tracks as much. A Girl Like Me is the last one I really, really liked. It was like one of my favorite songs of 2017, and then whatever song came out after that, I just could not get down with it. I just do not like it. I've listened to it probably once or twice, and I just can't make myself listen to it anymore. And while I like the Boots, it's not sort of up to par with what I think they could do. I think their music could be a lot better, and I think especially their B-sides could be better. That's one thing for me, is that their B-sides just aren't as strong. I've liked like 3 out of 4 of their title tracks, but there's not really any B-sides that I can think of off the top of my head, except for one off of this album right here that I really like. It's a really slow song. I can't think of the title, but it's like a really beautiful song, and it's like the one B-side I can think of that I like from them. Otherwise, I don't think I've ever really been able to make it through the B-sides on any of their albums, which is kind of a shame, because I feel like they could do a lot better. I know for sure that I'm not going to be buying that Chocolate Factory album, whatever, just because I don't like it. I'll try to get the Boots for cheap because I don't collect their photo cards, and I guess I'll try to collect them cheaply from there on out. And hopefully the quality of their albums improves, and hopefully they have a comeback soon. I would like to see them have a comeback with something stronger within the year. Okay, as for FX, this has always been my plan, and my plan was always that I would collect them from Red Light onwards, and so that's basically what I did. I decided I wouldn't collect their older releases just because I like them, but I don't listen to them very much, and honestly, I never really listened to them at all until recently, and I guess despite liking them, I don't really have the will to go back and buy them, because while I do like the music, I don't think that they're as high of a priority for me to get. But Red Light and Four Walls are two of my favorite albums, like when I first got into K-pop, so they have kind of like a special place in my heart. But yeah, my plan was always to collect them Red Light onwards, but they have not had a comeback since Four Walls, which is upsetting, but you know, things happen. If they ever do have a comeback, I'll like continue to collect them as I said I would. And if Loona ever has a physical release for a comeback, I'll most likely want to buy that as well, just because Free Somebody was one of my favorite albums when it came out, and it was like that summer album for me, so I really like her solo music a lot, so it's something I'd want to support and collect. This collection has not grown an inch since I got Loona's album around when it first came out, so it's been a while. But so here's what I have for New East. I have most of their albums except for one. At this point, their newest album has not come out yet, New East W's, but I just don't have Canvas. That one I'd like to get, but it's not a super high priority. My plan for New East is to collect all of their versions of all of their albums. I know that since Produce 101, their album version count is probably going to go up, making like the amount of albums they have kind of ridiculous, but it's okay. I'm willing to support them in that way. The only thing for New East that I don't want to collect is Japanese stuff, because I know they have quite a bit from a while ago before. I just don't want to collect that because it is expensive. Yeah, that's what I have for New East. For New East, I also have some photo books. I just have the Waiting Queue photo book and the Dispatch photo book with JR's cover. I really like New East photo books, although I'm not entirely sure if I'll be able to continue to collect them. Both of these I got for actually pretty cheap, so that's why I have them. But if there ever comes a time where there's like photo books for like a lot of money, I probably won't collect them. But I do really like these photo books, and I'm really happy I have them. So for Red Velvet, I want to collect all of their albums. I'm a little behind, but that's okay. I'll get there eventually. I wanted to start out by just buying their albums without photo cards, even though I am collecting photo cards. My priority is definitely to get the albums over the photo cards. As for like member versions, as for like Rookie, I'll only get Joy's member version. Yeah, depending on whether they ever do more than one version for their albums, I'll have to make up my mind whether or not I think it's necessary to buy more than one. But I definitely think I might just buy like all of the versions of their albums. Like, I don't know, I do really like them a lot. They're not like super up high on my bias list, but they definitely are a group I appreciate more for their music than anything. So supporting their music is something that I'd probably want to do, and that's, I guess, what I plan to do. But yeah, so that's for Red Velvet. So here's what I have for Hotshot. I just have their 3 Korean releases. I have M.I. Hotshot signed. I was lucky enough to find a copy in the first place, but a signed copy, because that album is pretty hard to find in general, I think. Well, the other 2 are pretty readily available. But yeah, I have their Korean stuff complete. I do plan to start their Japanese stuff. They just have the 1 single, but I think there's 4 versions of it. I think I'll buy it eventually, of course, because I want to collect like basically anything I can from them. So yeah, my collection plans for Hotshot are basically just anything and everything. But I'd like to support my boys in any way possible, and I just want to like buy like anything I possibly can, because I feel so deprived as a collector. I don't really have much to buy for my old group, but yeah, so that's all I have for Hotshot. Hopefully I'll have more to show you next time. So this is like the first half of my 17 collection. There's kind of too much to even fit in frame. My 17 collection has kind of come to a halt, and they used to be like my old group, but I mean, things have changed. The thing that kind of put me off from collecting them was the Teenage album. First of all, I didn't like that album very much. I don't necessarily think it's a bad album, but I don't really think it compares to some or like most of their past releases. Especially as a follow-up to Alone, it was kind of a disappointment to me. And the fact that there was 4 versions of it was like really off-putting, because at the time I was like, well, of course I collect all their versions, I have to have them all. But those things kind of like put me off from buying it, and so that's why it's kind of stopped. And I have to like take more time to think about what exactly I want to do with this collection, because I don't know if I necessarily want to continue with 1 version per album, but I may consider it. Like, I just don't know what I want to do yet. I'm thinking maybe, because I do have 1 copy of Teenage, which I'll show you in a minute, but I'm thinking of maybe just having that 1 copy of that album and then buying 1 copy of Director's Cut, and then kind of play it by ear for the rest of their releases. I guess maybe if I like the release a lot, I could buy all versions. If I am not too big of a fan of it, I could just buy 1 version. I don't know, but it's something I have to think about. I'll probably make that decision whenever they have their next comeback. Okay, so here's like my other half of my 17 collection, so from Alone up till Teenage, and then I have the special edition of Love and Letter, the repackaged, and then the Shining Diamond DVD. So like I was mentioning before, the albums, I think I'm just gonna, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but concerning DVDs, like just in general, I don't think I'm going to really be buying DVDs anymore, like from anyone, just because they're so expensive, and I just can't buy DVDs from like every single group that exists that I collect. Particularly, I do like 17's DVDs because I like firmly believe that they put on like some of the best performances. I always think that'll be worth it in that sense, but considering what I just said about not buying DVDs anymore, I thought I would just buy their Diamond Edge DVD, if I even can at this point. I don't know if I can, but I thought I'd just buy that one just because I did go to that tour, so I thought I'd buy that DVD. But like after that, I think I just call it a day with DVDs, unless they're from an alt group, which isn't a thing that'll probably ever happen. I don't think my alt groups will ever have DVDs. But yeah, so this is kind of where I stand with my 17 collection. It hasn't moved an inch since I bought that copy of Teenage, and I don't know. Its future is kind of undecided at the moment. So here I have Yongguk and Sihyun and Samuel. I thought I'd do these both together. I have not very many albums from either of them. So for Yongguk and Sihyun, I do plan to collect them like fully, because Yongguk and Sihyun, I love them both like immensely. Except I just don't know what their company's next move is for them, because Jungkook just released his solo single, and I'm kind of wondering if they'll ever do anything as a unit again, or if they'll just kind of debut a group next. Regardless of what they do, I want to collect them just because I do love them a lot, and I want to support them. As for Samuel, I just have his first two releases, 16 and Eye Candy. I don't have Teenager or One yet, I think is what those are called. I don't have them yet just because Brave Entertainment has been making me angry because they won't give Brave Girls a comeback, and as much as I love Samuel to death. Do not get me wrong. Like, I love him so much, but the thing is that Brave Girls are my ult, Samuel is not an ult, and seeing Brave Entertainment, like, not even give Brave Girls a chance is really upsetting to me. It's, like, nothing to do with Samuel at all. It is wholly to do with the company, Brave Entertainment, just because I can't stand them, and I just want a Brave Girls comeback so bad. It's like I'm so desperate at this point, and I don't mean to make this all about Brave Girls, but it is. I guess in terms of my collecting for Samuel, I do plan to collect everything from him. I'll get them eventually, I don't know when. I hope y'all don't think that I'm being petty or stupid for not buying his albums. Like, frankly, I guess the main reason I haven't bought his albums yet is because I haven't really listened to them. I really liked One as a title track, although I just haven't really listened to it much, and I definitely haven't listened to the album yet. It came out around a time where I was really busy, so I just haven't, really remembered to go back and listen to it yet. Teenager, I'm not as big of a fan of. Yeah, I'll get his albums eventually, of course. Just not yet. The right time will come, eventually. So here's my diet collection. It's kind of hard to see everything because I have a lot, but not enough to like split it into two different frames, I guess. So I'll go through everything that's here just because you can't really see everything. So over here is the limited edition of Spell, and then these are both versions of YOLO, and then this is Happy Ending, the 3 versions of Love Generation, the normal version which I have signed, and then the 2 unit versions. And then I have the limited edition of Love Generation right here. That's way too big to even fit. And then I have the 3 versions of Present right here. So for Dia, I feel like I have a lot of things to say. Dia, I genuinely really love all of their music. So of course, I really want to collect all of their albums. So as you can see, I have a pretty good start. I don't have all of their albums, but I do have most. The ones I don't have are Do It Amazing, which is their debut album, and the normal version of Spell. I'm just waiting on the normal version of Spell, like just kind of for the right time to get it, like when I have some extra money, just because I'm like 100% sure it has the same photo book as the limited edition, so it's not necessary, but I do still want to have it. But also, I really want to buy Do It Amazing, which is their first album, their debut. But if it ever even pops up on eBay, it goes for probably like around $200 or over $100, which is not something I'm really willing to pay. A lot of the times it comes up, it is like the signed M-Wave version, which I don't need and I don't really want. I just want a normal unsigned version of the album, but I know even then it goes for a lot of money. And I keep telling myself I don't really need it, but I like that album a lot, so I like want to have it in my collection, of course. So I'm kind of at a standstill there. I'm not really sure what to do. Maybe I'll buy it one day if I find like a really good price for it, but I honestly can't see that happening, which is unfortunate. As of right now, I think they're preparing for a July comeback, and I am like fully ready to support and buy all of the versions of that album. It'll be a little weird with the lineup change without Eunjin and without Yebin, so it's like OT7 but like a completely different OT7. but I'm really excited to see them back and promoting because it has been a while since Present came out, and I admittedly have missed them a lot. But yeah, that's my Daya collection. So here's I.O.I. This is essentially a complete collection. The only thing I don't have is the limited edition of Chrysalis, which is a shame. I wish I would have been able to get it when it first came out, but I just remember at the time like having absolutely no money, so it went out of stock really quick and I just wasn't able to get it. These are all first press albums, and I have What a Man Signed. I know recently they actually reprinted all of their albums, so those are coming back into stock like everywhere, which is nice to see, because despite I.O.I being disbanded, I guess there are still people who like stan them like that. Of course I still like miss I.O.I and stuff, like I wish they were together, but I also think that they are doing great individually, and I'm rooting for them all. I'm supporting them all in what ways I can. So yeah, there's not really much to say here, but this is what I have for I.O.I. So here's what I have for Jung Sewoon. I have all of his albums that he's released at this point. I plan to continue to collect all of his versions of his albums, just because I genuinely really like his music, and I want to support him. And I also think he has some of the prettiest photo books. Yeah, I just really love his releases, and I want to continue to collect him. So here is my JBJ collection. It is essentially complete. The only things I don't have is the limited edition of Fantasy, and I don't have the photo book that they put out. I can't remember what it was called, but I actually do plan on getting the photo book. I don't plan on getting the limited edition of Fantasy, just because at this point it's like way too expensive, and I don't really need another version of the album itself. But yeah, JBJ was nice while it lasted. I really did like following their promotions and supporting them, and I guess having the complete collection of their albums is really nice as well. There's nothing really to say about this because I did collect all of their albums, all of the versions essentially, but it's complete and it's not going to grow anymore in the future. So yeah, that's all I have for JBJ. So this is part of my Twice collection. It's like not even half of it. I'll go through everything that I have for Twice, and I'll talk about my collection plans when I get to the kind of last part of it. But I have The Story Begins, both versions of Page 2, both with Chaeyoung's cover. Then I have 3 versions of Twice Coaster Lane 1. So here's the rest of my Twice collection. I have both versions of Twice Coaster Lane 2, all 3 versions of Signal, 1 version of Twice-to-Gram, and both versions of Merry and Happy. So my Twice collection, it hasn't really grown much as of recently. What I have written down here is all albums/versions within reason. I have written down that I can buy 1 version of the album. I'm not going to make myself buy all versions of the album, especially if I'm not a huge fan of the album. And I have written down that it's okay for me to buy like secondhand. So as you can see, kind of after Signal is where it kind of went downhill. I only have 1 version of Twice-to-Gram. I don't know if I want to get the other versions. It's just that I'm not the hugest fan of the album, and I also have both versions of Merry and Happy, which is just the repackage. And my condition on getting the other 2 versions of Twice-to-Gram would be for cheap, secondhand. That's the only way I'd want to buy them because they're expensive. I think I do want to get both versions of What Is Love, but I think I'll just get that secondhand for cheaper so I can get Jihyo's CD plate. I also don't plan on collecting their Japanese stuff really at all, I don't think. I'm thinking maybe if they come out with like a full album, I'll buy like 1 version of the full album because most likely it'll have all of the songs from their singles. I just don't want to spend a whole bunch of money on the singles and have a whole bunch of jewel cases because I just don't really want that. But I'd be down to buy like 1 version of their full albums in Japan. I don't think I'd have a problem with that. That's what I have for albums for Twice. And then lastly for Twice, this is what I have for photo books/DVDs. I have the 1 in a Million photo book, and then I have the Page 2 and Twice Coaster Lane 1 monograph. So as you can see, I have a lot of stuff for Twice, but essentially like a while ago, I guess around Page 2 Twice Coaster Lane 1 era was when I had originally decided I wanted to collect all of Twice's DVDs and photo books. And I especially wanted to get all of the monographs because I like the idea of them, and I really like kind of having a photo book to go back and look at each era. But the thing is that there was just too much coming out at once, and I just couldn't keep up with it because it's like basically $50 per photo book or DVD, and that's a lot of money, especially for me. So I kind of stopped where I was. I think this was the last bigger thing I had gotten for Twice. I had originally wanted to collect their concert DVDs, but I think I've since kind of turned myself away from that, even though I think it'd be nice to have them. Because I think concert DVDs are even like more nice than photo books because Essentially, I want to see performances and stuff like that, not so much like behind the scenes type of things, but that's just a personal preference. I had even thought about selling these 3 things because I just am not into Twice enough to like buy these types of things anymore. Twice used to actually be my alt girl group, but now they are not. And honestly, the more I think about it, the more I kind of do want to buy their concert DVDs because I think they have another one coming out soon. But like I said, they're really expensive, so I'll have to think about that a lot more. So I'm going to talk about these 2 groups together again. But for Rainz, I'll talk about Rainz first. This album in particular, Sunshine, is like one of my favorite albums of like, I guess, the Produce groups. I still listen to it a lot compared to, I guess, some of the others. Like, it just has some really, really good songs on it, but I also am not sure like how I want to collect them because their last comeback, I don't really remember liking it very much. I may have to go back and listen to it again and decide what I want to do because I was completely ready to like buy their albums and support them and stuff, but they did like a 180 in their concept and I wasn't really feeling it because I thought the concept that they did for Sunshine was much better and fit them well. As for MXM, I do plan to collect all of the versions of their albums as long as there's like 2 per release. That I wouldn't mind. I think right now they're preparing for a full album, so I'm excited for that, and I'll of course buy that. But yeah, so I do plan to collect them like fully, I guess. So here's CLC. For CLC, I collect everything, all their albums. At this point, I have all of their albums except their debut. I don't have that yet because I wanted to get it signed, but I don't know if I'll do that. I have to make my mind up about that, but yeah. I have all of CLC's albums. I don't know, because they do have Japanese releases. I don't know if I want to collect those or not. I do like their Japanese music. I just don't know if I want to collect it. I haven't really seen it for good prices anywhere. But yeah, if I can find some good prices for the Japanese releases, I will collect them. But yeah, this is CLC. So this is what I have for Chungha. I have all of her albums so far. And I'd really like to continue to collect all of her albums, all of her versions and everything. I can see myself doing that. I really like Chungha's albums, like especially in terms of like the photo book and stuff and the packaging, so I think I'll like definitely continue to collect all of her albums. But yeah, there's only 3 albums here, so there's really not much to say, but yeah, that's Chungha. So for Cosmic Girls, I have all of their albums up through Happy, and I have written down here that I'd like to collect all of their albums / versions of albums, but for their release after Happy, I don't know what it's called, but I think I might only buy 1 version of it. It just kind of depends. I just didn't like that album as much, so 3 versions just a little excessive, so I think I may just buy 1. But yeah, I think WJSN is kind of going to be one of those ones that even though I say I want to collect everything, I'm just going to kind of play it by ear and see what I want to do. But yeah, I guess overall, I'd like to collect all of their albums. So for Pentagon, I don't actually know if I want to keep collecting them, but I do have their first 3 releases plus their first Japanese release. I guess whether I continue to collect them or not will be based mostly on if I can find the albums for cheap, because they're really not a high priority right now. Their last few releases aren't my favorite. I kind of got back into them with Shine, but I also don't like that album as a whole as much as I like these 3 that I have, because I really like these 3 albums as a whole, and their next, I think it's 3 releases, I just wasn't a huge fan of any aspect of them. I really like Shine, but yeah, like I said, the album isn't my favorite, and I'm not going to collect Japanese albums anymore. I don't listen to their Japanese releases very much at all. As of right now, I just haven't made up my mind 100% yet. I may just like stop at this point and not collect them anymore, but keep what I have. I don't know. I have to make up my mind. So this is what I have for SF9. I have their first 3 releases, and then I have their first 2 Japanese singles. And I'm kind of at a standstill with SF9 like I am with Pentagon, because I don't know if I want to keep collecting them. But basically if I do, I think I'd try to buy albums for cheap. I don't really know where to go with this because I don't like stan SF9 as much as I used to. I still like them a lot, and I like their first 3 Korean releases a lot especially, but it's just O Sole Mio and Forwards. So I guess just O Sole Mio and Mamma Mia I haven't been too huge of a fan of. I know that I don't plan to buy any more of their Japanese releases just because honestly I don't listen to Japanese music that much, and you know, maybe if I ever like some of their Japanese releases that are like not re-releases of Korean songs, maybe I'll change my mind on that. But yeah, I'm just not going to buy any more Japanese releases. And continuing forward, I don't know if SF9 will ever start doing multiple versions for their albums, but I know that if they ever do, I'm only going to buy like one version, and I'm not typically one to do that because I like to have like the complete collection, but I realize that I don't need to have 2 copies of the same album, especially if I don't stay in the group like that, you know? I have to think about SF9 a bit more, about what I want to do. I guess maybe their next comeback, I'll have to think about it. Here's my Attention collection. I have, this is just their Korean albums, but I'm going to continue to collect them the way I always have, just buying all of their albums, all their versions. I don't have their newest album yet, but I should get it soon because I really do like the album a lot. And I usually get Attention albums closer to release than this. So I'm a little sad I haven't been able to buy it yet, but it's a high priority. There's not really much to say because I'm not planning on changing the way I collect them. They're really high up on my bias list, like 2nd or 3rd of like my top boy groups. So of course I'm going to collect them like fully, like I'm going to collect all their versions, I'm going to collect all their albums, just like I always have, you know, no different. So this is what I have for their Japanese collection. They have 2 Japanese singles out as of right now, and the way I collect their Japanese stuff is just kind of however I want to, whatever I guess is the best deals I can find on Zen Market, I guess. So for I.D, which was their first single, I just bought the limited edition. Limited edition is something that of course I'll buy, like, regardless, just because it has the nice photo book in it, and that's like basically what I want. But you can't see this one. This is Wushin's member cover, and I have 2 of Zhao's member covers. And then this one normal version, so that's all I have for I.D. I've been thinking about kind of getting more from I.D, but I don't know if I'd want to really. Maybe the rest of the normal versions, or maybe a few more member covers, but I don't necessarily need them. But then for Wild Love, I have the limited edition, of course, and then the 9 member covers, which honestly, if I can continue to find good deals for like a bundle of all of the member covers, I think I'll continue to like get all of the member covers, just because I like having them, even though it's completely unnecessary. But I think I may go back and buy the normal versions of this album. And the reason I even collect Attention's Japanese stuff in the first place is because I just have a lot of fun buying it. I have a lot of fun collecting their Japanese stuff specifically, so that's basically why I do it. So this is what I have for Jonghyun. I just have his 2 full albums. I never like officially collected him, but my sister bought me this for my 17th birthday, I think it was. And then I bought this one so I could support the release. And I'm happy to have these albums because I love them both a lot. I don't plan on getting any of the other releases that he's put out, but I actually did have Base at one point, but I sold it because that's not like my favorite of his albums, so I thought I would sell it. But yeah, that's all I have for Jonghyun. So for U and B, y'all probably know what's up. I plan on getting all of their albums, all of the versions. Because my alt is in this group, I have to support them as much as I can, and I like to get all of their things. Like, I guess it doesn't matter what it is really in terms of like a physical musical release. I'll most likely buy it in whatever ways I can. I have Boyhood in the limited edition of Boyhood, and hopefully they'll be having a comeback soon, so I can buy that and support them. Here's what I have for Weki Meki. I just have their first two albums, and I do plan on getting their 2nd album. I just need to decide whether I'd need to buy all 3 versions, because I actually really like that album, and it came out around a time where I wasn't able to buy it. But I need to decide if I want to buy more than one, because I guess overall I really like the album. I really like the music, first of all, and second of all, I really like all 3 of the different concepts that they have for the 3 different versions of the album. So I guess though, these Weki Meki might become one of those groups where I have to kind of play it by ear. Like if I like the album, I'll buy more than one or all of the versions of the album, or like if I'm just kind of meh about it, then I may just buy one version, or I don't want to say like skip it altogether, because I'm a person that likes to have complete collections, but I do have to limit myself in some ways. But their 2nd mini album, I can't think of what it's called at the moment. Is it Lucky? I don't know what it's called, but I do really like all of the songs on it, and I think it's like a really strong album to come out this year, especially from a rookie. And I personally think they had a pretty strong comeback from their debut, so I'd like to continue to support them. So here's like the first part of my 101 collection. It's only their first 2 releases, but it's 6 albums. So these right here, this is the Japanese version of To Be One, and this right here is the Taiwan version. And then these are my 2 N-Wave copies right here, signed by Jisung and Minhyun. And then these are just 2 normal copies of Nothing Without You. Since this release, I've stopped collecting Taiwan and Japanese releases just because it's really expensive and not really worth it, because it's like basically the same content. So here I have all of the versions of I Promise You and Undivided. Undivided is the newest addition to my collection. Actually, so is I Promise You. I got that pretty recently as well. I'm kind of wondering how many comebacks 101 is going to have before their contract is up, just because I think there's about 6 months left, and they are going on a world tour soon, so I'm wondering if they'll squeeze one comeback in before the end of their contract or what's up. So these are the last 2 things I have for 101. So basically, my plans for collecting 101 is to collect everything, all of their physical releases, including albums, photo books, DVDs, and things like that, anything else I deem reasonable. I really like the photo essay, and I still have yet to watch the DVD, but I'm really excited about both of them. I'm kind of hoping they have another DVD release, just because I'd like to see the most recent concert that they did, the Won the World concert in Seoul. I'm kind of hoping for another photo book like the photo essay. I don't know. I just kind of want more physical releases from them, even though they already have like way too many. I've basically like put all of my other collections on hold just to like collect 101 at the capacity I've been collecting them at, just because they have a lot of stuff, and I honestly don't really feel bad about putting all of my other collections on hold because I want to collect 101 in the way that I've been collecting them. That's everything I have for 101. So here's like half my Loona collection. I have Heejin, Hyunjin, Haseol, Yeojin, Vivi. I have both versions of Kim Lips, and I have Jinseo. And here's my other half, I guess. So I have Cherry, Eve, Chu, Go On, Olivia, and then I have Love and Evil, the repackaged, the normal version, and Mix and Match, the normal version. The way I've collected Loona up to this point is one singular version of the member versions. I wouldn't get any versions except that for the singles. Except for Kim Lip, I made an exception. The reason being is her single is my favorite, and I have version A's for everything else, so I had initially bought the version B, so I thought I'd also buy the version A for those 2 reasons. But for the unit releases, I had just bought one version of, I guess, the release, including like the repackage, but I think what I want to do is go back and just get Love and Live, the normal version, and then Max and Match, the normal version as well, just so I can kind of have more content, I guess, because I do like the concepts for both of those. I just chose these ones because I like them the most out of the 2, I guess, but I do think I want to go back and get them. I do have Beauty and the Beat on the way. I just haven't received it yet. I bought it without a photo card because I don't collect Loona photo cards, so that's just why I don't have it yet. And I do plan on buying the normal version of the repackage when that comes out. Regarding their debut, I'm not 100% what I want to do after that, but I guess I'll just have to make that decision when the time comes, which will hopefully be soon. So here's Triple H, just the one album, of course. I do plan on buying their album from their comeback. I think that they're preparing for it right now. I really like Triple H, and I want to buy their album, so I really hope that they're more of an active unit, just because they do put out like some really, really good music, and I think the 3 of them work really well together. Here are some one-off boy group albums that I have. This one is MVP's Manifest, this one is Big Star's Shine a Moonlight, and then this one is Impact's, I don't actually know what it's called. The album title was never really made clear for me, but it's Impact's second mini album. All 3 of these groups I actually intend to continue to collect, but MVP has not had a comeback yet, so that's their debut, and they just haven't had a comeback. It's been over a year since they debuted. I'm hoping for a comeback this year. And then Big Star I plan to collect in the same way that I collect Brave Girls, because since they're from the same company and debuted around the same time, they have, I guess, similar types of releases. They have, of course, mini albums and stuff and singles, but they have quite a few digital singles as well, and I plan to get those just because I do like those songs a lot. And they're not actually like horribly expensive to get, just like Brave Girls aren't too hard or expensive. That's my plan, at least. Shine a Moonlight, as of right now, is just the only album I've managed to get my hands on. So then for Impact, I don't know if I'm going to get their first album. I would like to, because I really liked it, especially when it first came out. They haven't had a physical release since this album, but they have had some digital singles that I've seen some promos of. Even if I don't get the promos, it'd be okay. I just would like to have their like actual physical releases, like, first and foremost. So here are some one-off girl group albums that I have. I just have Oh My Girl's Windy Day album and EXID's Street. I used to collect Oh My Girl, but decided I'd stop just because I haven't been liking their releases ever since Coloring Book, and I know they've only had 2 releases, but I just don't stand them in the same way I used to. I had all of their albums up until Coloring Book, but I decided that I would sell them all and just keep Windy Day, because Windy Day and I guess Liar Liar are my favorites of their title tracks, and I decided I would just keep the Windy Day albums. I prefer this concept over Pink Ocean, so that's why I decided to keep that one. And then for EXID was a group I actually intended to collect, and if I ever could get around to it, I would like to still collect them. But the reason I bought Street was because I really like the album as a whole. It was I really liked it and listened to it a lot when it came out, because I especially liked the title track, and I just have not gotten a chance to continue collecting them. because I really do like their music and I listen to them quite a bit, but I just never got around to buying more of their albums, which is kind of a shame. But at this point, I don't know if I'll go back and do it. I would definitely like to, but I can't say if I will or not, just because I like to focus on like higher priorities, I guess. So I thought I'd kind of give you a look at my shelves, just because I have changed how they look since I did my last collection video. So I'll just kind of go through them really quick. At the top I have my Sunghi sign page, and then this thing that came with a Nuist photo book. That right there is like a picture of me and my friend, which I don't want to show you. This is how everything is organized. I tried to make it look really nice, but yeah, that's all I have on this shelf. So up here on the top shelf I have my Hojung sign page and this banner from when I saw Attention in Chicago. And this is my 101 shelf. The next shelf is like just Produce 101 groups. This whole shelf is like my Produce 101 shelf, but yeah, it starts with 101 and then goes down. So I have Nuist and then Hotshot, and then this is a little photo book of Hojung I made. I have the groups in order of debut. So I have, this is where my I.O.I section starts. I have Dia first because they debuted first, and then I have I.O.I and I.O.I groups, and this is in order of debut. And then right here, I just have albums I'm selling, and that's it. So I'm just going to do my outro here. So I'll probably do another update in maybe another 6 months. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.